Hello, and today we're going to be talking about limits. So, limits is part of calculus. Calculus is more famously known for integral and derivative. That thing. But we won't be looking at these two today. We're just going to look at limits. So, if we look at So let's start by making a function. There we go. Alright. F of x is equal to x minus 1 over x minus 1. Okay, so no matter what the value is, it's always going to be 1 unless x is equal to 1. If x is equal to 1, it's going to be undefined. So, if we plot this f of x, here's our 1, and here's 1 again. It'll be a straight line, and we'll have a little gap there, and we represent that as a circle. And then, of course, this goes on forever. So, we're going to look at this gap and what limits can actually do for us. So, remember that our function is equal to x minus 1 over x minus 1. We can now take the limit, lim for short, of x as it approaches 1 of f of x. Okay, so let's think about what this means. So, as I get infinitely close to 1 from either direction, what is this value going to be? Now, normally if we sub this in, it will equal undefined. But if we take the limit, it's taking a look at what it's meant to be. If it wasn't undefined and it was following the pattern, what would it be? So the limit of this, as x approaches to 1, is 1. And just to prove this, we can go to our trusty CAS, quickly calculate real quick, and we can define a function. If I can type, which I can't at the moment, there we go, f of x why did it get rid of it? In hindsight, it would make more sense to actually do this with a keyboard. Okay, so now that it's saved, we can now take the limit, which is right here. If you would let me, there we go, of our predefined value f why? Why did you do this to me, Gaz? Why did you do this to me? Where is it right now? It should be right here. 1. There we go. after a lot of effort, finally got there, and we can see it's equal to 1. Okay, so going back to our graph, we can see if we get closer and closer and follow this line, if this was perfectly straight and accurate, it would be 1 if it wasn't undefined. So let's look at another example. Let's look at this graph and say that it's some sort of parabola, and that this point here is undefined for whatever reason. And let's say that point there is 2. And we'll say 4. So if we get continuously closer to this point, lim of x approaching 2 of this new function f of x, whatever this is, we can see that, well, if we take the other points out, how close is it? What is it? What is this point right here? Well, it looks just under 4. Okay, what if we get closer to 4? Closer to 2. Well, it's even closer to 4 now. Okay, let's come from the other direction. Well, it's kind of close to 4. It's just above 4. And it keeps going down. From both directions, it seems to be converging to this value 4. So, the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x is going to be 4. Well, okay, hold on. What if we had a really weird function that did this? Now, you can have some sort of graph like that. Let's say this is 1. And we don't know what these 2 points are. We'll label them C and C plus H. Okay, so if we want the limit as x approaches 1 of this new graph, well, there's 2 points now. You can see that there's 2 points. So what do? Well, we have to, in this case, it will be undefined. But we can actually get this to spit out one of these 2 points. All we have to do is tell it which direction we're coming from. So if we're coming from this direction, we're going to put a little superscript plus as x approaches 1. But if we're coming from the negative direction and we want to get this point, we change that plus to a minus. So if we take the limit of x as it approaches to positively 1 of f of x, we can see that it's at some constant c. And if we did the same for minus, we'd find it's c plus h, whatever that value is. So that was my quick intro to limits. And as you learn calculus, you'll increasingly understand why limits is so important. It is the building block of calculus. And that ends my video for today. If you have any questions, feel free to write a question in the comments or message me on social media.